The sun was rising over New York, but the light felt cold, lifeless. People didn't stare at the sunrise anymore. They stared at the sky, at the shapes floating high above the clouds. 5 alien ships hung there like black shadows. They never moved, they never spoke. But everyone knew they were watching. Then on that morning, a sound like thunder rolled across the entire planet. It came from the ships. The sound wasn't just heard, it was felt. The ground trembled. The air seemed to vibrate. In Times Square, a massive hologram appeared in the air. It wasn't human. It wasn't even a face. It was a twisting shape of light and shadow, like something alive but impossible to understand. And then it spoke, in a voice that was both metallic and alive. 100 days from now, your world will burn. Gasps and screams broke out. In the crowd, phones fell to the ground. Cars stopped in the streets. No negotiation, no escape. Prepare yourselves. Or do nothing. The result will be the same. And just as suddenly, the image vanished. The sky returned to silence. But the fear remained, deep, sharp, and cold. In the Pentagon war room, the leaders of the world sat around a long table, faces pale, hands shaking. No one spoke for several minutes. Finally, the President of the United States broke the silence. "We can't stop them," she said softly. "Not in 100 days, we don't even know what they are." Across the table, an older man leaned back in his chair. His uniform was crisp, his eyes sharp. General Kane had fought wars on 3 continents, but nothing in his life looked like this. "Maybe we don't have to stop them," Kane said. "Maybe we can use them." The president stared at him. "Use them? They just gave us a death sentence." Kane's lips curved into a thin smile. "Exactly, a deadline. And humans do their best work with a deadline." 2 days later, the alien ships returned, not to speak, but to act. Across every major city, tall towers appeared overnight. No one saw them being built. One evening, the streets were empty. By morning, the towers were there. They were made of black stone and strange glowing veins. On the top of each one, a massive clock appeared, alien symbols glowing in red light. They pulsed like a heartbeat. Scientists worked day and night to decode the symbols. It took only 3 hours to understand. The clocks were counting down, 100 days. 100 sunrises left for Earth. In a small apartment in Chicago, a young mechanic named Ryan sat in front of his TV. The news anchor's voice was shaky. "And the alien countdown towers have been confirmed to be synchronized. If they reach 0, experts believe the alien fleet will begin planetary destruction. Governments are advising calm." Ryan laughed bitterly. "Calm? We're all dead in 3 months. Calm won't save us." His sister Emily, sitting on the couch, hugged her knees. "Maybe they'll change their minds." Ryan shook his head. "No, they're not here to talk. They're here to wipe us out." That's when the TV screen changed. The news anchor's face was replaced by a live broadcast from Washington. The camera focused on General Kane, standing on a stage with soldiers behind him. "This message is for every human on this planet," Kane said, his voice deep and commanding. "I know what you've been told. I know the fear you feel. But I say this, if we have 100 days left, then we will use every single one of them, and we will not spend them hiding. We will spend them preparing." Reporters shouted questions, but Kane kept speaking. "They think we are prey. They think fear will make us weak. But fear can also make us strong. I am calling for every man, woman, and child to train, to fight, to survive. This is not the end of the world. This is the beginning of the hardest training you have ever faced. Welcome to Boot Camp Earth." The room erupted in chaos. Some called him insane. Others cheered. Ryan stared at the screen. Emily whispered, "He's serious, isn't he?" Ryan stood. "Looks like I'm joining the army." The next day, things began to change. Schoolyards became training grounds. Football fields became obstacle courses. Stadiums became shooting ranges. Even rooftops were turned into sniper towers. The alien towers stood silently, their red light pulsing, watching. At night, strange drones appeared in the sky, scanning the cities. Sometimes they hovered close to the humans, as if studying their movements. In the Pentagon, Kane's officers watched satellite feeds. "They're watching us," one officer said. Kane nodded. "Good, let them see," but not everyone believed. In Paris, protesters shouted in the streets, accusing Kane of leading humanity into a pointless fight. In Tokyo, a group of scientists insisted on trying to communicate with the aliens, broadcasting messages into space. The aliens never responded. On the 93rd day, something happened. At dawn, a dark shape broke away from one of the alien ships. It was smaller, about the size of a building, and it dropped through the clouds, heading for Africa. Military satellites tracked it. Kane ordered every available unit to watch. It landed in the Sahara Desert. Doors opened. Creatures stepped out. They were tall, armored in black metal, their faces hidden behind insect-like masks, and they began testing. They moved through a small village, ignoring the terrified civilians, scanning buildings, tearing apart vehicles. They weren't killing, not yet. They were observing. The feed cut off suddenly. In Washington, Kane turned to his officers. "They're checking our progress." An aide looked nervous. "Sir, what if they decide we're not ready?" Kane's eyes were cold. "Then they'll come early, and we'll fight early." By nightfall, rumors spread. People said the aliens had been seen in other countries, silent, walking the streets, taking samples of the air, scanning people's bodies. Emily sat at the kitchen table, scrolling through news on her tablet. "Ryan, what if they come here? What if—" Ryan interrupted, loading a rifle. "Then we'll give them a welcome they'll never forget." On the 90th day, 3 alien drones flew low over a training base in Nevada. Soldiers opened fire, bringing one down. Engineers swarmed the wreckage. Inside, they found strange metal spheres, still glowing with alien energy. Kane ordered them taken to a secret lab. The scientists were amazed. "We can use this," one said. "We can turn their tech against them." Kane smiled faintly. Exactly the plan. But somewhere high above, in the cold dark of space, alien fleet adjusted position. In the command chamber of the largest ship, a figure of shifting shadow and light spoke in a voice that was both alien and cruel. "The humans train. They prepare. They believe they can resist." Another voice, sharper, replied, "Then let them believe. It will make the hunt more satisfying." That night, Kane stood alone in the war room, staring at the countdown clock. 90 days left, he whispered to himself. "If they want Doomsday, we'll give them hell instead." Far above, the alien ships glowed faintly in the dark, watching, waiting. The alien towers pulsed in the darkness, their red light glowing like the heartbeat of a monster. Every city had one now, standing taller than any human building, watching over the streets below. The countdown ticked forward, silent but unrelenting. 90 days, 89, 80-8. The world had changed. Markets became shooting ranges. Schools turned into training halls. Old factories produced armor instead of cars. Soldiers marched in the streets, but they were not just soldiers. They were bakers. Students, mechanics, and teachers now were in uniforms and carrying rifles. General Kane walked through a training camp in Arizona. The desert heat shimmered in the air as recruits ran obstacle courses. Some carried logs over their shoulders, others crawled under barbed wire. A group practiced firing at moving targets, the sound of gunshots echoing in the dry wind. A young man stumbled while climbing a wall. Kane stopped, watching. The recruit looked up, his face red with exhaustion. "You gonna stay down there, son?" Kane asked, his voice calm but sharp. The man gritted his teeth and pulled himself over the wall. Kane gave a small nod. "That's what I want to see," he said quietly. In the Capitol, Emily sat at a small desk in the communications office. Her job was to monitor civilian broadcasts, messages from people all over the world. Some were cries for help. Others were desperate offers to negotiate with the aliens. She sighed as she listened to yet another message from a frightened family. In Brazil. Suddenly, a different transmission cut through the noise. The voice was deep, distorted, almost mechanical. "We are watching you." Emily froze. The voice wasn't from Earth. She quickly traced the signal but found no origin. It was everywhere and nowhere at once. "You train, you prepare, but your fate is already sealed. Stop resisting. Accept the end." The transmission ended with a sharp crack, like a door slamming shut. Emily's hands trembled. She grabbed her radio. "Kane needs to hear this," she said. That night, in the Pentagon war room, the recording played again. Kane listened without expression. When it finished, one of his officers looked at him nervously. "Sir, they're trying to break morale." "If people hear this—" "They won't," Kane interrupted. "Lock it down. No leaks." He turned to the room. "They want us afraid. That means we're making them nervous. Keep pushing." The next morning, news spread across the camps. The aliens had sent down another test squad. This time, they landed in Siberia. Satellite images showed the black armored figures moving in perfect formation, their movements sharp and mechanical. Kane called an emergency meeting. "They're testing our response times," he said. "We hit them fast. We hit them hard. This isn't just defense anymore. We need to learn how they fight." In a hangar in Nevada, engineers worked on something new, a weapon built from the alien drone wreckage recovered days earlier. Ryan was there, holding a wrench, sweat dripping from his forehead. "How's it coming?" Kane asked, stepping into the hangar. Ryan wiped his hands. "Slow. Their tech is weird, like it's alive. But if we can get this working, it'll punch through their armor." Kane's gaze hardened. "Then make it work. We might need it sooner than you think." 3 days later, the Siberian test squad vanished from satellite feeds. They weren't destroyed. They simply disappeared. That night, alarms blared in the Arizona camp. Ryan shot awake in his bunk, grabbing his rifle. Outside, floodlights lit the sky. Black shapes were moving at the edge of the perimeter. "Positions!" a sergeant yelled. Soldiers rushed to the walls, weapons ready. Through the scope of his rifle, Ryan saw them, the same black-armored aliens from the satellite images. They moved silently, not firing, just watching. One of them stepped forward. Its mask reflected the floodlight, its head tilting slightly, as if curious. Then, without warning, it raised a strange device. A blinding flash exploded. When Ryan's vision cleared, the aliens were gone. In the command tent, Kane studied the reports. "They didn't attack. They scanned us," he said. "They're studying our tactics." Emily, who had been transferred to the camp to assist, looked uneasy. "Sir, what if they're not just studying? What if they're copying us?" Kane considered this. "Then we'll make sure what they copy kills them." Over the next week, the training grew more intense. Recruits fought in simulated city battles, practiced in underground tunnels, and learned to adapt to changing conditions. No light, sudden smoke, heavy noise. Kane wanted them ready for anything. But strange things began happening. In one camp in Texas, a guard reported seeing a soldier he didn't recognize. When challenged, the soldier turned and walked into the shadows and vanished. In another base in Poland, a squad swore they heard someone speaking in their commander's voice, giving them orders to move to a different location. The commander, however, had been in a meeting miles away. The word spread quietly. The aliens could imitate humans. One night, Emily found Ryan sitting alone by the campfire, his rifle across his knees. "You're quiet," she said. Just thinking. Ryan replied, if they can look like us, how do we know who's real? Emily looked into the flames. We don't, not unless we find a way to test it, Ryan sighed. Then we better find one fast. Because when the real fight comes, I don't want to be aiming at the wrong person. On the 80th day, the alien towers changed. The red glow turned white for a few minutes, then returned to red, but faster, sharper. As if the clock was angry. Scientists confirmed what everyone feared. The countdown had accelerated. 80 days left. Became 70-5. Kane slammed his hand on the table in the war room. They're trying to scare us into mistakes. Don't give them what they want. Double the training schedule. No breaks. But late that night, as Kane walked the perimeter of the camp, he felt something strange. The air grew colder, the sound of the desert wind fading until there was only silence. From the shadows, a single alien stepped forward. It was unarmed. It tilted its head, the same curious gesture Ryan had seen before. Then, in perfect English, it spoke. You cannot win, General, but you can choose how you die. Kane didn't move. Tell your masters this. We don't choose to die. We choose to fight. The alien was silent for a long moment. Then it said, almost softly, we will see. In the next second, it was gone, leaving only the cold air behind. When Kane returned to his quarters, he didn't tell anyone what happened. But he knew one thing. The real war had already started, and the clock kept ticking. The desert camp was alive with noise, gunfire cracking in the distance, boots thudding on dirt, the bark of drill sergeants echoing through the air. The smell of sweat and dust hung heavy. This was not the world anyone remembered. This was Boot Camp Earth. General Kane stood on a raised platform, watching recruits climb rope towers and leap into muddy trenches. His sharp eyes scanned the training fields like a hawk. Push them harder, Kane told the nearest instructor. Every second they waste here costs them 10 seconds in battle. Ryan was at the shooting range, his rifle tight against his shoulder. Beside him, Emily struggled to steady her aim. You're leaning too far forward, Ryan said. Emily fired and missed the target. She groaned. Maybe I'm just not a fighter. Ryan lowered his weapon. Neither was I, but now we don't have a choice. None of us do. Life in the camps was relentless. People woke at dawn, trained until night, ate in silence, and collapsed into their bunks. Every skill mattered. Climbing, shooting, fighting, surviving in the dark. Even children learned to run obstacle courses, their small legs pumping through. The dust, the alien towers loomed over it all, glowing red, counting down to destruction. 75 days, 74, 73, but as humanity trained, the aliens began to change their tactics. One afternoon, Kane's second-in-command, Colonel Diaz, rushed into the command tent. Sir, we've got reports from Europe. 3 alien dropships landed near Berlin and didn't attack. They're just standing there. Kane frowned. Standing? Yes, sir. Information. No movement except turning their heads toward anyone who approaches. Then they're waiting for something, Kane muttered. Or sending a message. That night, the Berlin feeds went dark. The soldiers guarding the perimeter reported a blinding white light. When the light faded, the aliens were gone. And so were 24 human soldiers. No bodies, no blood. Just gone. The next morning, Kane gathered the senior officers. They're not just testing our defenses, he said. They're taking our people. We don't know why, but we can't let it continue. From now on, every alien presence is to be engaged on sight. Ryan overheard the order and felt a chill run through him. Engaged on sight meant only one thing. No more waiting to see what the aliens wanted. Training intensified. Cities around the world joined in. In Rio de Janeiro, rooftops were turned into sniper positions. In Johannesburg, abandoned stadiums became battle simulators. In Tokyo, martial artists taught close-quarters combat to soldiers and civilians alike. It wasn't just soldiers training anymore. It was everyone. But with more training came more losses. In a nighttime drill in Arizona, the floodlights flickered. For less than a second, the camp was plunged into darkness. When the lights came back, 3 recruits were missing. Emily was one of the people who saw it happen. It was like they were there. And then they weren't, she told Ryan, her face pale. Ryan clenched his fists. They're inside the camp now. We're not just fighting them out there, they're here with us. Kane called a meeting with the scientists working on captured alien technology. The lead engineer, Dr. Marlowe, placed a strange device on the table. This is from one of their drones, Marlowe said. It emits a high-frequency pulse that seems to interfere with their cloaking ability. If we can amplify it, we might be able to reveal hidden aliens. How soon? Kane asked. Marlowe hesitated. A few weeks, maybe. Kane slammed his hand on the table. You have 1 week, get it done. The first real test came sooner than anyone expected. On the 70th day, alarms blared across the camp. Scouts reported a group of black armored aliens moving in from the south. Kane didn't hesitate. All units to battle positions. Ryan and Emily scrambled to the walls. In the distance, they saw the figures moving silently through the desert. The first shots rang out, the bullets sparking off alien armor. The aliens moved faster, almost gliding over the sand. One soldier fired a rocket. The explosion lit up the night, throwing dust into the air. When the dust cleared, the aliens were gone. Where are they? Emily whispered. Ryan's answer came in the form of a scream from the north wall. The aliens had bypassed the main gate and were already inside the camp. Gunfire erupted. Soldiers fought in the narrow alleys between tents. One alien grabbed a recruit by the throat, lifting him off the ground before Ryan shot it through the visor. The alien collapsed in a heap, its armor hissing as black smoke poured out. But even as they fought, Ryan noticed something strange. The aliens weren't killing everyone. Some they knocked unconscious and carried away. The battle lasted less than 10 minutes. When it was over, 20 people were missing. Kane stood in the center of the camp, his jaw tight. They're taking prisoners for a reason. Find out why later. That night, Emily found Ryan sitting alone again. They're not just soldiers, she said quietly. They're hunters. Ryan didn't look at her. Then it's time we started hunting back. The next morning, Kane ordered a dangerous mission: capture a live alien. Not just kill one, but take it alive for study. Ryan was part of the team. They set up an ambush in the desert, using a fake supply convoy as bait. The aliens came, moving in perfect formation. When they were close enough, Ryan's team sprang. The trap, nets, explosives, and the new pulse device from Dr. Marlowe. For the first time, the aliens seemed disoriented. One stumbled, its cloak flickering. Ryan tackled it to the ground. It struggled, its strength almost breaking his grip, but with the help of 3 others, they bound it in heavy chains. When they removed its mask back at the camp, everyone froze. It wasn't a monster, it wasn't even completely alien. Its face was human, or at least looked human. Pale skin, dark eyes, and an expression that was neither fear nor rage. But curiosity. Emily whispered, they can't just copy us. They are us. The alien tilted its head, looking directly at Kane. Then it spoke in perfect English. You are preparing well. But you are preparing for the wrong war. The camp fell silent. Kane's voice was steady. What war then? The alien smiled. A slow, unsettling smile. The one that begins when the clock stops. And then, without warning, its body dissolved into black smoke, slipping through the chains and vanishing into the air. The countdown tower in the distance pulsed once, twice, as if it had heard the alien's words. 69 days. The wind howled over the desert as the sun began to rise. The countdown tower in the distance glowed red. 69 days. The numbers never stopped ticking. They were like a constant reminder that time was bleeding away. General Kane stood in the command tent, studying the latest satellite images. His officers watched in silence. "Sir," Colonel Diaz said, pointing to the screen, "this is different. The aliens aren't sending small squads anymore. They've landed a full strike group." Kane leaned closer. The image showed 20 black armored figures moving in perfect formation toward a ruined city in Mexico. Behind them crawled machines. Tall, spidery walkers with glowing blue cores. "They're testing us again," Kane said. "But this time, they're bringing their war toys." In the Arizona camp, Ryan and Emily were eating breakfast when the announcement came over the loudspeakers. "All combat-ready units, prepare for deployment. Priority 1 mission, wheels up in 15 minutes. Emily looked at Ryan. "That's U.S. Ryan grabbed his rifle. "Let's see if all this training was worth it." The dropship roared over the desert, carrying 20 soldiers, including Ryan and Emily. The air inside was thick with the smell of oil and adrenaline. "You ready for this?" Ryan asked. Emily nodded, though her hands were clenched to him. Her weapon, "I'm not ready, but I'm going anyway." When they reached the ruins, the dropship descended low, dust swirling around them. Kane's voice came over the comms. "Listen up. The enemy is moving toward the old city square. They're bringing heavy walkers. Your job is to stop them before they reach the tower in the center. If they plant whatever they're carrying, this place becomes useless to us." The soldiers fanned out, taking positions among the crumbling buildings. Ryan crouched behind a half-collapsed wall, Emily beside him. Then they heard it, a deep, mechanical thump. The ground trembled with each step. The first walker appeared. At the end of the street, its metal legs slicing through the air with insect-like precision. Behind it marched the black armored soldiers, their movements smooth and inhuman. Ryan took aim. "Here we go." The first volley of gunfire erupted, echoing through the ruins. Bullets sparked against alien armor, but the soldiers kept advancing. The walkers fired blue plasma bolts, tearing through walls like paper. "Flank left." Ryan shouted. He and Emily darted into an alley, moving toward the side of the walker. From his position on a rooftop, a soldier fired a rocket. The explosion rocked the walker, sending shards of alien metal flying. But instead of falling, the machine crouched, and from its underbelly, a swarm of small drones burst into the air. "Drones incoming!" Someone yelled over the comms. The drones zipped between buildings, spitting bursts of blue light. One hit a soldier, and he dropped instantly, his armor smoking. Ryan slammed against a wall, breathing hard. "These things are faster than they." "Look!" Emily peered around the corner. "We need to take out the walker's core. That blue thing in the middle." Ryan nodded. "Cover me." He sprinted into the open, gunfire screaming around him. The walker turned, targeting him. Ryan dove behind a pile of rubble as a plasma bolt scorched the ground where he'd been. Emily opened fire from the alley, distracting the machine. Ryan seized the chance, pulling a grenade from his vest. He tossed it toward the glowing blue core. The explosion was deafening. The walker staggered, its legs twitching, then collapsed in a shower of sparks. The soldiers on the ground hesitated, just long enough for Kane's forces to push forward. But then the air shimmered. Out of nowhere, more alien soldiers appeared, cloaked until the last second. They hit the human line like a black wave, moving too fast, too precise. One of them lunged at Emily, knocking her rifle from her hands. She fought back with her combat knife, blocking a strike and jabbing at its neck. The alien caught her wrist, its grip like iron. Ryan barreled into it, slamming the butt of his rifle into its helmet. The alien staggered, and Emily drove her knife under its chin. It fell, black smoke leaking from its armor dot in the command channel. Kane's voice was urgent. All units, we have confirmation. This is a capture mission. They're targeting our wounded. Protect them at all costs. Ryan's stomach turned. He remembered the missing soldiers from Berlin, the ones who'd vanished without a trace. They're not leaving with anyone this time. He growled. The battle raged for another 10 minutes. The humans pushed forward, using grenades and rockets to take down the remaining walkers. One by one, the machines fell, crashing into the dust, but the aliens fought with terrifying precision. Even when outnumbered, they didn't break formation. They moved as if controlled by a single mind. Finally, with their walkers destroyed and half their soldiers down, the aliens began to retreat. A dropship appeared above the city, its hull shimmering like liquid metal. The surviving aliens leapt aboard, carrying something with them. Ryan raised his scope. His blood went cold. They've got one of ours. Emily's voice was tight. Who is it? I can't tell. Helmet's on, but it's a soldier from our side. Kane's voice came over the comms, calm but with steel beneath it. Let them go. The channel went silent. Ryan couldn't believe what he'd heard. Sir, they've got one of our people. I said let them go. We're tracking the ship. This could be our way inside. The alien dropship vanished into the clouds. On the ground, medics moved through the ruins, tending to the wounded. The air stank of smoke and burned metal. Emily sat on a chunk of rubble, her hands still shaking. We won, right? She asked. Ryan looked around at the destroyed buildings, the bodies covered in tarps. We're still here. That's the closest we get to winning for now. Back at the camp, Kane studied the data from the battle. The engineers were already working on ways to counter the drones and walkers. But his eyes kept drifting to one flashing red icon on the screen, the transponder inside the soldier the aliens had taken. He didn't know if the soldier would survive. But if they did, they might be the key to learning exactly what the aliens were planning. When the countdown reached 0. The tower pulsed again in the distance. 68 days. Night had fallen over the desert camp. The countdown tower glowed like a blood-red scar against the horizon. 68 days left. The soldiers tried to rest, but no one could stop thinking about the soldier the aliens had taken. Inside the command center, General Kane stood over a table covered in holographic maps. Colonel Diaz entered quietly. They've moved the prisoner to a facility in the mountains, Diaz said. Our tracker shows it's heavily guarded. Kane didn't look surprised. Good. That means they think he's important. They'll keep him alive. Diaz frowned. Sir, you're not going to leave him there, are you? Kane's eyes were cold. We'll get him out. But first, we use him to learn what they don't want us to know. In the barracks, Ryan sat on his bunk cleaning his rifle. Emily came in, tossing her helmet onto the bed. They're saying Command knows where he is, she said. Ryan looked up. Then why aren't we moving? Emily shrugged. Because Kane's got a bigger plan. I heard the engineers talking something about building ships. Ryan stared. Ships? As in spaceships? Not just ships, Emily said. Alien tech hybrids. They're tearing apart every walker, every drone we've captured, trying to figure out how it works. Ryan set his rifle down. That means Kane isn't just planning to survive. He's planning to hit back. The next morning, the camp's hangar was alive with noise. Sparks flew from welding rigs as engineers worked on strange new machines. Half of them looked like human designs. The other half were clearly alien. Smooth metal curves, glowing blue power cores. Emily walked with Ryan through the rows of prototypes. One in particular caught Ryan's eye. A sleek, dark gray fighter with no visible cockpit. How does the pilot even fly it? He asked. A young engineer overheard and grinned. With their mind, neural link. It's the same system the aliens use, but we've adjusted it for human brains. Ryan raised an eyebrow. Adjusted? Sounds like a polite way of saying guinea pig. The engineer's grin faded. It's dangerous. Most can't handle it. But if we pull it off, these ships will be faster than anything they've got. That night, Kane called a closed-door meeting with his top officers, and, surprisingly, Ryan and Emily. We're running out of time, Kane began. Our current weapons aren't enough. The enemy is stronger, faster, and they adapt every time we beat them. If we wait until the countdown ends, we'll be crushed. Diaz leaned forward. So we strike first? Not yet, Kane said. We need 3 things. Ships that can match theirs, soldiers who can use them, and a way into their command structure. That's where our captured soldier comes in, Emily frowned. You're using him as bait? Kane shook his head. Not bait. A doorway. He's still carrying a live neural tag from our side. If the aliens connect him to their systems, we can piggyback into their network. And once we're in, we find where their main fleet is hiding. Ryan's eyes narrowed. And if they find the tag before we act? Then we lose everything, Kane said simply. 2 days later, the first test flight of the hybrid fighters began. Ryan and Emily stood in the control tower as a volunteer pilot stepped into the neural link chamber. You sure about this? Ryan asked the lead engineer. Not at all, the engineer replied. The pilot's body stiffened as the link engaged. On the runway, the fighter hummed to life, floating off the ground without visible thrusters. It shot into the sky like a bullet, disappearing into the clouds. Looks like it works, Emily said, but then alarms blared. The pilot's vitals spiked, and the fighter spun out of control. It crashed into the desert in a fireball. The room went silent. The engineer muttered under his breath, "We still need adjustments." Meanwhile, Kane received an encrypted update from their network taps. The aliens had moved the prisoner again, this time closer to the coast. There. Preparing to transport him off-planet, Kane told Diaz. Once he's gone, our only link to their network is gone with him. Diaz hesitated. Then we move now? Kane nodded. But we don't go in loud. We send a small team, volunteers only. Ryan and Emily didn't need to be asked twice. The insertion was at night. A stealth dropship carried the 5-person team. Over the dark ocean, skimming just above the waves. Ahead, the alien facility glowed faintly, its walls smooth and seamless. Like it had been grown instead of built. Ryan whispered, "How do we get through that?" Emily tapped her pack. Gift. From engineering. Alien metal cutter. Should slice right through. The team landed on a rocky shore and crept toward the base. The sound of the ocean masked their footsteps. Inside, the hallways were strangely quiet. No guards, no alarms. This is too easy. Ryan muttered. They reached the cell block and found the prisoner, but something was wrong. He was sitting calmly, hands folded, no restraints. Who are you? Ryan asked. The soldier looked up. His voice was steady. I was hoping you'd come. They've been expecting you. The lights went out. A cold mechanical voice filled the air. Humans, always predictable. The walls shimmered, revealing alien soldiers cloaked around them. The team opened fire, but blue energy shields flared, absorbing the bullets. Ryan dove for cover. It's a trap! Emily activated the metal cutter, slicing through a wall. Back way out. Move. They ran, but the prisoner didn't follow. He just smiled faintly. Kane's voice crackled in Ryan's earpiece. Abort mission. The tag is still active. They're letting you escape for a reason. We can track them now. Get out. The dropship roared away from the coast. Enemy fire chasing it, but never hitting. Ryan sat on the floor, breathing hard. He didn't want to come, Emily said quietly. Ryan shook his head. No, I think he couldn't. Or maybe he's not entirely human anymore. Back at the camp, Kane studied the live feed from the alien network. For the first time, they could see the enemy's fleet. Hundreds of warships hidden on the far side of the moon, waiting for the countdown to end, Kane's jaw tightened. Now we know where they are. Now we can plan. Diaz glanced at him. Plan? To run or plan to kill them all? Kane didn't smile. Both. Outside, the countdown tower pulsed again. 66 days. The camp was awake long before dawn. Engineers worked under floodlights, sealing the last plates on the hybrid fighters. Soldiers packed gear into drop pods. The air was heavy with fuel smoke and the smell of fear. In the command center, Kane stood in front of a huge tactical display, showing the enemy fleet's position on the far side of the moon. They're waiting, Diaz said quietly beside him. Like predators. Kane's eyes stayed on the map. They think we'll hide until the countdown ends. They're wrong. In the hangar, Ryan strapped into a neural link chair. The silver headband was cold against his skin. Emily stood beside him, checking his readings. Your vitals are stable. For now, Ryan smirked, comforting. The engineer in charge leaned in. Remember, the neural link is sensitive. Think too hard about the wrong thing, and you'll fry your brain before you leave atmosphere. Great, Ryan said dryly. No pressure. Emily gripped his shoulder. Just bring yourself back alive, okay? The plan was simple, in theory. Kane's forces would launch a surprise strike on the enemy's staging point near the moon. The goal wasn't to destroy the fleet outright. It was to cripple their long-range communication, buy time, and force them to react. As the countdown to launch began, Kane's voice came over the comms. Today, we show them that humanity doesn't wait to be slaughtered. Today, we hit first. The hybrid fighters screamed into the dark sky, engines glowing blue-white. Ryan's fighter responded like it was part of his own body, every thought, every reflex perfectly matched. Emily's voice came through his headset from her own fighter. You fly like you were born for this, Ryan grinned. Don't make me blush in zero gravity. The earth fell away beneath them, replaced by the cold void of space. Ahead, the moon's gray curve began to rise. Contact in 2 minutes, Kane's voice said. Stay tight. We don't know what tricks they've got waiting. The first enemy drones appeared on the scanners. Dozens of small, needle-shaped ships. Ryan dove, weaving between bursts of plasma fire. His fighter moved like lightning, dodging shots that would have been impossible in human-built craft. Emily's cannons roared, shredding 2 drones into pieces. This is almost too easy, she said. Kane's voice cut in sharply. Don't say that. As they rounded the moon's shadow, the enemy fleet came into view, and for a moment, Ryan forgot to breathe. Hundreds of massive ships floated in formation, their surfaces shimmering like liquid metal. And in the center, something far larger. What is that? Emily whispered. It wasn't a ship. It was a station, a black spire anchored into the lunar surface, glowing with an eerie blue light. Diaz's voice came over the channel. That's not in our scans. It's building something. Kane said, new objective. That station is priority. Destroy it before it finishes whatever it's making. Ryan dove toward the spire. Enemy ships moved to intercept, but the hybrids were faster. His cannons tore through a guard ship, sending debris spinning into the void. Emily's voice was tight. Ryan, the spire's energy reading just spiked. Suddenly, a beam of light erupted from its tip, lancing into space. The beam hit one of Kane's support ships, slicing it in half. Ryan swore. That's not a station. It's a weapon. Kane's voice was steady but urgent. All fighters, concentrate fire on the base of the spire. Bring it down. Ryan's squadron opened fire, blasting chunks off the lunar surface. But the spire's shields flared, absorbing most of the damage. We're not getting through, Emily said. Ryan's mind raced. What if we overload the shields from inside? Emily hesitated. Inside? You mean fly in there? You got a better idea? Ryan asked. The 2 fighters dove toward a narrow opening near the weapon's base. Enemy drones swarmed to block them, but Ryan's neural link pushed the ship beyond its limits. He and Emily slipped through the entrance into a massive chamber, filled with glowing machinery. "This place is alive," Emily murmured. The walls pulsed like veins, and strange, organic cables writhed across the floor. Ryan locked onto the shield core, a spinning sphere of blue energy in the center. "On my mark," he said. They fired together. The core flared, then exploded in a burst of light that nearly blinded them. Outside, the spire's shields collapsed. Kane's voice roared over the comms. "All ships, fire everything you've got." The fleet unleashed a storm of missiles and plasma fire. The spire shuddered, then cracked apart, pieces tumbling down the moon's slope. Cheers filled the comms, but they died quickly when the moon itself began to tremble. "What's happening?" Emily asked. Diaz's voice was grim. It wasn't just a weapon. It was a seal. From the crater beneath the shattered spire, something enormous began to emerge. At first, Ryan thought it was another ship, but then he saw it was moving. Like a living thing, a massive black, insect-like creature unfolded itself, wings spreading wide enough to cast shadows across the fleet. Its eyes glowed with the same cold blue light as the spire. "Oh, hell," Ryan breathed. Kane's voice came through, low and steady. "That's their ace. The fleet was bait. The real threat is whatever that thing is." The creature let out a soundless scream that shook Ryan's bones, even through the vacuum. Then it lunged, not at the humans, but at the alien fleet. The aliens fired, but their shots bounced off its armored hide. One by one, their ships were torn apart. Emily's voice was shaky. "It's killing them?" Ryan watched in shock. "Why would it attack its own?" Kane answered grimly. "Because it's not theirs either. They were keeping it locked away." As the alien fleet scattered in chaos, Kane gave the order. "All ships retreat. Let the monster have its war." "We'll regroup." Ryan hesitated. "We can't just leave it." "Yes, we can," Kane said. "We're not ready to fight two enemies at once." The hybrids turned away, engines flaring. Behind them, the moon became a battlefield between the alien armada and the unleashed beast. Back on Earth, the camp was buzzing with a mix of relief and fear. They had struck the enemy, but they had also unleashed something far worse. In the command center, Kane stood over the holo map. "We bought time, maybe days, maybe weeks. But when that thing finishes with them, it'll come for us." Diaz asked, "Then what's the plan?" Kane's eyes were cold. "We find a way to kill it. And we make sure when the aliens come back, they find nothing but its corpse." Outside, the countdown tower pulsed again. 64 days. The desert camp was silent under a cold, starless night. The hybrid fighters had returned, but the pilots were tense, eyes still wide from the chaos on the moon. Ryan and Emily walked through the hangar, examining the damage to their ships. Sparks flickered from exposed circuits, and the smell of ozone hung in the air. Emily broke the silence. "I can't stop thinking about what we saw. That thing." Ryan didn't answer at first. He stared at the damaged craft. "It's not just a weapon," he said finally. "It's alive. And it's smart." Emily swallowed. "Smart? That thing. It wiped out their fleet like we were ants." Ryan nodded. "And it didn't even touch us. Not yet." Inside the command tent, Kane stared at the holographic map of the moon. The creature had disappeared from the scans after tearing apart the alien fleet, but the energy reading suggested it was still active. Diaz approached cautiously. "Sir, what if it comes to Earth?" Kane's voice was calm, but there was steel beneath it. "Then we need to be ready to talk to it. Or fight it, and I'm not sure which it wants." Emily and Ryan were called into the tent. Kane gestured to a large table displaying the moon's surface and scattered alien ships. "This," Kane said, pointing at the glowing area, "is where it emerged. That creature is no mindless animal. It has a purpose, and we need to find out." What it is before the aliens recover from their loss. Ryan leaned forward. You want us to communicate with it? Kane nodded. Indirectly, we send a signal, something it can understand. We test it. Any response will give us information about its intent. Back in the lab, the engineers worked feverishly. They designed a neural beacon, a device that could broadcast simple thought patterns through quantum pulses, something the creature might respond to instinctively. Emily watched the team. And you're sure it will work? The lead engineer shook his head. We're not sure of anything. But if we do nothing, we die. Ryan clenched his fists. Then we try. No other choice. That night, a small shuttle carried Ryan and Emily toward the site where the creature had last been seen. The desert below was black, but the moonlight glinted off shards of alien metal scattered, like broken teeth. Emily's voice trembled slightly in the headset. I don't like this. What if it's not friendly? Ryan glanced at her. Then we get out as fast as we can. But first, we need answers. They landed near the largest crater. The shuttle's engines whined and cut out, leaving them in eerie silence. Ryan activated the neural beacon, sending out pulses in simple patterns, basic thoughts of peace and observation. Nothing aggressive. Emily crouched beside him. Do you think it'll understand? Ryan shrugged. It already understands more than we do. Minutes passed. Nothing. Then the ground trembled. Ryan grabbed Emily's arm as a shadow unfolded across the crater. The creature emerged. Its massive black body glinted with residual energy. Its wings spread wide, casting the shuttle and soldiers in deep shadow. Its glowing blue eyes fixed on them, analyzing, judging. Emily whispered. It's huge. Ryan activated the beacon again, amplifying the pulses. We come in peace, he said, voice steady. The creature paused, cocking its massive head. Then, slowly, it lowered itself closer to the ground, wings folding in slightly. Its eyes flickered, reacting to the pulses. Emily exhaled softly. It's listening. Ryan moved carefully, keeping the beacon between them. We're not here to fight. We want to understand you. Why did you attack their fleet? For a long moment, nothing happened. Then, in a voice that was deep and resonant, yet alien, it spoke in English, not perfectly but clear. They were keeping me trapped. They used me as a weapon. I am free now. Emily stepped back. It can talk? Ryan nodded slowly. Seems like it chooses words. It's intelligent. The creature's glowing eyes scanned the horizon. Humans, strong. Fight well. You think you can defeat them? Ryan swallowed. We don't want to defeat you. We want to stop the aliens from taking over Earth. You were enslaved by them. We're on the same side. The creature tilted its head, wings twitching. Same side? You fight with them sometimes. Confused humans. Emily spoke softly. We only fought them because they attacked us first. We don't want war with you. The creature's eyes dimmed slightly, as if considering her words. Then it let out a low, almost musical hum. Ryan asked, will you help us? Help, maybe, but conditions. Emily frowned. Conditions? Humans must prove worth, must learn to survive, must prepare. For the real war. Ryan's heart skipped. The real war? Countdown. Not for humans only. For everyone. The creature moved closer, its enormous form almost brushing the shuttle. Its voice lowered. I will guide. But you must not fail. Fail means death for all. Emily's hands shook. We won't fail. Ryan nodded. We won't. The creature's eyes flickered once more. Then, as silently as it had arrived, it lifted into the night sky and vanished, leaving only a faint shimmer where it had hovered. Back at the camp, Kane and Diaz received the signal that the neural beacon had been accepted. It responded, Ryan said over the comms, voice tense but full of awe. It understands. It might even be on our side. Kane's expression remained unreadable. Good. But don't mistake this for friendship. It's powerful, unpredictable, and its trust can vanish in a moment. Emily added, we saw it. It's alive, thinking, and terrifying. But if we can learn from it, maybe we have a chance. Diaz looked at Kane. And the countdown? Kane's eyes went to the tower glowing red in the distance. 63 days. And we're running out of time. That night, Ryan and Emily sat outside the hangar, staring at the stars. Emily whispered, do you think it'll really help us? Ryan was quiet for a moment. I don't know, but right now, it's the only chance we've got. We just have to survive long enough for it to teach us. Above them, the sky remained silent. The stars gleamed coldly. Somewhere out there, the creature was watching, waiting, judging, deciding if humanity was worthy of survival. The countdown tower pulsed. Again in the distance, red and relentless, 63 days. The desert camp buzzed with activity at dawn. The countdown tower glowed bright red, 63 days. Soldiers checked weapons, engineers calibrated hybrid fighters, and medics readied themselves for the unknown. Ryan and Emily stood near Kane, watching the preparations. This is it, Ryan said quietly. Everything we've trained for. It comes down to today. Emily swallowed hard. And if we fail? Kane's voice was calm but sharp. We won't fail, not this time. The creature is on our side now. And we have the element of surprise. Ryan looked at Kane. The creature, are we sure it'll fight with us? Kane's eyes were cold. It will. But it fights for its own reasons. Don't forget that. Respect it, or it could turn on us as easily as the aliens. The hybrid fighters lifted off, engines screaming into the sky. Ryan and Emily's ships followed the lead, neural links humming. As they synced with the controls, Kane's comms crackled, target coordinates locked. Moonbase now under heavy alien fleet occupation. Move fast, move smart, and protect the creature when it enters battle. Emily's voice was steady, but tense. Here we go, Ryan. Eyes wide, Ryan grinned. Always wide. As they neared the alien fleet, the scene was chaos incarnate. The creature hovered above the crater from its previous battle, wings spread, body glowing faintly with alien energy. Dozens of hybrid fighters moved alongside it. Human pilots sensed with neural link precision. Diaz's voice came through. All units, follow the creature. It will lead the strike against the command ships. Take out their weapons first. Ryan tightened his grip. Let's make this quick. The first wave of enemy ships fired, plasma bolts cutting through the void. Hybrid fighters dodged and returned fire, while the creature swooped down, crushing the smaller vessels with massive strikes of claw and tail. Emily shouted over the comms. It's incredible. Look at it, Ryan. Ryan's eyes were wide. We're barely keeping up. Keep your focus, we can't afford mistakes. A massive alien cruiser turned toward them, weapons bristling. The creature lunged, striking it with a wing that tore through the hull. Human fighters followed, firing missiles that exploded against. Its surface dot suddenly. The alien commander appeared, a black armored figure larger than any Ryan had seen. It hovered above the cruiser, energy crackling from its palms. Humans, it bellowed. You dare attack the Empire. Kane's voice cut through the chaos. Focus on the command ships. Take it down before it rallies the fleet. Ryan dived toward the cruiser, dodging energy beams. Emily followed, blasting drones in their path. The creature turned its attention to the commander, claws raking across alien armor, sparks and energy. Bursts filled the void, lighting up the darkness of space dot inside the command cruiser. The alien commander growled, furious. Release the prisoners. Destroy them all. A squad of black-armored soldiers rushed to attack the humans inside, but hybrid fighters and human soldiers on the outside tore through their lines. Ryan's heart pounded as he fired into the enemy, each shot precise, calculated, keeping pace. With the neural link, Emily shouted, "Ryan, get to the bridge." Now! They burst into the cruiser's bridge, finding rows of alien consoles glowing with blue light. Ryan grabbed a control panel. "I can override their weapons, give the creature a clear path." Emily covered him, shooting at approaching aliens. Ryan's fingers flew over the alien interface, mimicking their commands. With a flicker, the cruiser's main guns powered down. Leaving it vulnerable. Outside, the creature seized the opportunity. It crashed into the cruiser, tearing the hull apart from the top. Energy explosions rocked the vessel, and alien drones were flung in every direction. Ryan watched in awe as the alien commander struggled, his attacks now slowed. "This is our chance," he said. Emily nodded. "Then let's end this." The creature let out a deafening screech, charging forward with full force. Ryan and Emily fired from their fighters, striking the command ship's engines. The cruiser began to break apart, hull plates separating, blue energy flickering out. The commander roared, trying to escape, but the creature struck one final blow, crushing him beneath a massive wing. Silence filled the void for a moment, broken only by the sound of human comes and the creature's low hum. Ryan exhaled. "It's over, I think." Emily's voice trembled. We did it." Kane's voice cut in over the comes, calm but proud. "All units, pull back. The alien fleet is broken. Any surviving vessels retreating. Humanity stands today because we fought together, human and creature alike." Ryan stared at the stars, then at the creature hovering near the destroyed fleet. Its glowing blue eyes met his. It was massive, terrifying, yet somehow noble. Emily whispered, "Do you think it'll stay with us?" Ryan shook his head slowly. "I don't know. But it fought for us. That's enough, for now." Back on Earth, the camp erupted with celebration. Soldiers hugged each other, engineers cheered, and the countdown tower glowed ominously in the distance, still counting. But now their confidence was stronger. Kane addressed the assembled troops. "This victory is only the beginning. The aliens will recover. They will strike again. But today, humanity showed that we are not prey, we are warriors. And we will not surrender." Emily turned to Ryan, smiling tiredly. "We survived." Ryan nodded. "More than survived. We learned how to fight smarter, faster, together." The creature appeared one last time, hovering over the camp. Its eyes flickered, as if saying goodbye. Then it spread its massive wings and vanished into the night sky. Emily whispered, "Goodbye, and thank you." Ryan watched the stars, knowing the battle had changed everything. Humanity had survived, not just by its weapons, but by its courage, unity, and willingness to face the unknown. The countdown tower pulsed again in the distance. 62 days, and this time, humanity was ready. The fight was far from over, but for the first time, they had hope. The story ends with a mix of suspense and triumph. Humans survived against impossible odds, allied with the mysterious creature, and now have the knowledge and power to face the aliens again.